Once again, greetings to all you amazing aspiring sourcing agents and current sourcing agents. My name is Soleni BC and I am a South African sourcing agent and a related property coach. And yes, of course, today I am here to introduce another fascinating yet very basic topic. Okay, so today's question is how to become a sourcing agent in South Africa. So I just want to give you highlights and steps with regards to how to learn to become a sourcing agent. What does it take to run a sourcing, to build foundations for a sourcing agent business? And of course, what does it take to actually run a successful sourcing business in South Africa? To hear a bit more about this, please stay tuned. So I have met several people who have said yes, they want to be sourcing agents or they want to have a successful sourcing business. And the one thing, of course, I've noticed is that in South Africa there is limited knowledge with regards to how to become a sourcing agent and how to have a successful sourcing business. So as you can see, there are some notes which you're seeing on your screen. They're just supposed to guide me, of course, in terms of, how do I stick to what I'm supposed to say because I talk so much. And also they are here to give you an idea of what is it that I'm talking about and have some kind of a structure in your head, okay, to understand a little bit better, in other words. Okay, so when it comes to being a sourcing agent, this is based, okay, I have to emphasize, this is based on my own experiences and everything that I've gone through. Some other people, they may have different experiences, but these are my experiences. The one thing I have to say though before I get started as well is that you will not find information on your YouTube or on your Google. You will not find enough information that is going to help you, become a successful sourcing agent in South Africa. Reason being, sourcing is not so well known in South Africa. It's something that just recently started. Okay, so you are gonna have to go to specific people. I don't mean me, you can come to me as well. We do have trainings and everything, but you can also go to somebody else whom you trust. The one thing I'm going to be doing in this video, most importantly, is to guide you on what exactly you're supposed to be looking for when you're looking for knowledge. Whether you then saw some information on Google, at least you know what is it that you're supposed to be looking at on Google or on YouTube. And if you've seen a company that does, that has a sourcing program, you know exactly what is it that you're supposed to be getting from them, and if it's worth your investment. Because of course, to get educated as a property investor, in other words a sourcing agent, you have to invest something, and in this case it's your money and of course your time. So as you can see on your screen, there are basically three steps in my opinion and also based on my experiences. First things first, you have to go through a training. I went through my training 2018. Okay, that was my first step. And then for the second step is you have to basically set up your business. I started setting up my sourcing business 2019, towards the end of 2019. And then the last step is of course now operating your business. In other words, this is the moment where you go out there and actually try to find deals. And then of course I went through that, 2019 up to of course until recently, until now. So let me go back a little bit. So with regards to the first step, I'm gonna take you through that one a bit more deeply. Reason being is because that one, if you do it right, the other two steps, they are quite easy to go through. Okay, it's easy for you to understand them. You can literally go through them by yourself, or you can go through them with your coach if you decide to get a what is this, a sourcing related coaching. For example, I got a sourcing related coaching. I went through the training, and then second step I went through a sourcing related coaching. And then during that coaching, I was helped to set up my business. I was also helped in terms of how to now operate my business to a point that I close at least my first deal. Okay, so basically the training, I'm just gonna talk about that a bit more on the next part. But for now, I just wanna say with regards to setting up your business. After you've gone through the training, you have to set up your business. By that I mean you're gonna realize that no matter how much you know your work, the sourcing agents who are currently doing this right now, they're gonna agree with me. You can be an awesome sourcing agent, but when you actually go out there, you speak to agents telling them that, hey, I'm interested in this property, you know, have property investors who want to buy it, blah blah blah. People start not to trust you a little bit. They want to see proof of the fact that you can afford the property. They want to see some business cards, they want to see websites, so that they know you're not wasting their time. So that is where the importance of setting up your business comes, because this is the stage where you're supposed to name your business, create business cards. If you want to create some kind of a website, you have a short website, or if you want to set up a social media platform for your business, you do that. For example, I have my business cards. I don't have a website, but I have your social media platforms where agents can be able to go there and check me out. Then when it comes to agents who do not trust me or don't believe that I do have the money, because of course I'm a sourcing agent, that means I do not have disposable income, or I don't have a bond that I'm qualifying for. It's easy for me to refer them to the websites of the investors I'm working with intimately, the investors whom, even if the estate agent calls them, they are able to have that investor say, yes, I know Soleni, I'm actually working with them. Why? Because I've taken the time to set up my business in a way that the agents, they can confirm who I am, who I'm working with, and the people that I'm working with, the fact that they can afford the certain properties that I'm looking at, and I'm not a time waster and all of that. So that part is very, very, very important, as you can see. And then the last part is basically about the coaching. So by coaching, I mean this is where you get somebody who can sit down with you. If this you can do by yourself, by the way, but I would suggest you ask somebody who has done this before, somebody who is actually running a successful sourcing business, to show you how do they get to a point where their business is successful, or how do they get to a point where, for example, they've closed their first deal. Because the most important thing right here is closing your first deal. If you can close your first deal, for the second, third, and whatever number of deals, it's just a matter of following that process you followed, that helped you, close your first deal. So with regards to that third point, that means you need to set up, of course, your strategy, and you need to set up your plan. By strategy, I mean that you have to kind of set up your goals. How many deals do you want to close? What is the desired revenue that you want? Based on the desired revenue, how many deals are you supposed to be looking at every month? For example, my coach used to say I'm supposed to look at 15 plus properties every month for a specific area if I want to close at least one deal. And then we went back to how much do I want to close per deal, and that basically determined what kind of deals can I source. In other words, should I be looking at your student accommodation, your multi-let, or should I be looking at your mini apartments, that cost less than 700,000 rents, for example, depending on, of course, on how much do I need. Okay. So as you can see, everything here you have to be very specific about if you want to be a successful sourcing agent. Now let's kind of jump into the training a bit more, and let me guide you on what kind of training are you supposed to go out there and look for. What should be your requirements when you approach the companies that are supposed to train you as a sourcing agent? Since of course Googling and YouTubing, if I can say, or searching on YouTube is not enough to have proper knowledge to do this. Because as much as you can Google, bottom line is you're going to be asking somebody to invest 1 million rands, 700,000 rands, their hard-earned money basically in this. And for them to trust you, they need to know that you have also invested something. You have also put in some kind of a risk. You've caused this, you have risked something in terms of learning how to do this properly. Okay, so it's also for credibility purposes, and also for you, of course, to know what you're doing and be confident in what you're doing, so much that it becomes easier for you to go through this, and you don't go through all the painful mistakes that are gonna eventually kill your credibility and your reputation. Okay, so let me tell you a bit more about what kind of training are you supposed to be looking for out there. with regards to the training, so as you can see, as always, I'll always have my points right there on the screen to help you follow what I'm saying. So the training you're supposed to be looking for, it should have a little bit of theory, a little bit of the practicals. It should have or include giving you access to a support system, and also it should include giving you access to vetted property investors or clients, the people whom you're going to be finding deals for. Okay, so let me explain this a bit more. Okay, so it comes to theory, I mean, they are supposed to help you with four things. This is based on my own little training. So by four things, I mean they're supposed to help you identify good areas, because not every area is good for a flip, for example. And they're supposed to help you identify good areas. It's supposed to help you understand how to build relationships with people who have access to motivated sellers, in other words, how to build your leads, because the more agents who are happy with you, for example, or anybody actually has access to motivated sellers, the more of such people you have and who are happy with you and who are sharing properties with you, the more are the chances of you closing a deal. Okay, property deal sourcing is about traction. If your relationship game is not good and you do not have anybody working with you and constantly sharing potential deals with you, chances are you're not going to be closing a deal anytime soon. And if that's the case, then you're going to be discouraged, and chances are you're going to be quitting very soon, just like a lot of sourcing agents I've seen before. So you're supposed to find a program that includes helping you build relationships with estate agents, or anybody who has access to motivated sellers. Okay, and then thirdly, you're supposed to go for a program that is going to help you run the numbers for different kind of deals. By that I mean, for example, four strategies being your multi-let, your student accommodation, your buy to let, your flips, your Airbnb, for example, like our program, to guide you in terms of how to do your back to backs. For example, you're supposed to find a program like that that teaches you how to run numbers thoroughly for all those strategies. Of course, since you're going to be sourcing deals to people, you're supposed to be sourcing something which you've done proper due diligence, and running the numbers, it's one of the most important parts of your due diligence, and that program, it's a must that it includes that part. Okay, and then fourthly, you're supposed to have a program that is going to help you package your deal, because no matter how awesome your deal is, if it is not communicated in that document you're sharing with people, then chances are people are not going to be looking at it enough for them to realize that it is actually a good deal. You're supposed to package your deal in a way that it captures a person's attention, an investor's attention, or a client's attention in this case. Okay, so that's the program you're supposed to be looking for, and that is the theory part. And then the practical part, it's basically where now the theory, you are actually putting it into, can I say, into action. For example, it pushes you to go out there and actually find areas, pre-qualify areas. It pushes you to actually go out there and interact with agents, ask them a certain questions, and it's going to be teaching you what you would have been taught, in fact, with regards to what kind of questions I was supposed to ask. It's supposed to push you to go out there, find these properties from these agents, and run the numbers for those properties until you get comfortable. Why is this practical part so important? It's because there is a huge gap between knowing how to do something and actually doing it. You're going to realize that there are so many things you do not know, right in between those two steps. And doing it, it allows you, it helps you understand that actually I don't know this part, and encourage you to go back to whoever is teaching you or to the community they would have provided for you, and ask in terms of, how do I handle this part? I have had this challenge with an estate agent. How do I deal with them when, for example, they say they want proof of income? How do I deal with them when they say they don't trust me? How do I deal with them when they do not want to talk to the seller on my behalf, for whatever reason, because they don't trust me or whatever the reason? Okay, so that is the importance of practicals. All the theory part, now you are transferring it into the actual work, and bridging all these gaps which you wouldn't have been aware of if you didn't actually practice this. And then that brings us to the community, or the support system rather. So the support system, as I said, when you get stuck during your practicals, you need a place where you're going to be going to ask questions. Normally with a training like this, it's something that is normally online, or that is yes done in person. It's either via Zoom, or they hire a venue somewhere, and then they're gonna have you guys for those 2 days or whatever the period. And then after the 2 days is over, you're not gonna have a privilege of a one-on-one interaction, because of course these things at different level. You have your training, and then later on you can have your what is this, your coaching, if you want your one-on-one interaction. So if you've only been through the training, and since you don't have your one-on-one interaction with your coach or the person who's doing the training, chances are you're gonna need a community. Okay, so that community, that's where you're gonna be finding other sourcing agents, other property investors, people whom you can be able to ask for some advice in terms of how to deal with whatever issues when you are now applying your theory. Okay. And then we come to the last part, which is the vetted investors. Sorry about that. That is my gate. Okay, so you come to the last part, which is the vetted investors or clients. You need access to these as well. Why is it important? Because as a sourcing agent, as you're going out there finding deals, the last thing you want to be going through is trying to find investors who are going to be buying your deals. That is another very challenging part. Finding a deal is challenging. Finding investors is also challenging. Okay, you want to limit your challenge. You want to make sure that at least some other challenges you don't have to go through. So I suggest you go for a program where you're going to be given access to vetted investors. Not just any kind of investors, because some programs, they do give you access to investors, but problem is those investors are not vetted, you guys. There are people who are normally starting out and they're still freaking out. Somebody who's going to say yes, they are happy with your deal, and then they're going to be giving you a runaround so much that you're going to end up losing the deal because they are freaking out. They're not ready to start investing in property. By vetted investors, I mean access to people who have been already pre-qualified for a bond. They can be able to share pre-qualification certificates with you so that you know exactly what they qualify for. They know the areas which they're looking for deals for. They know, that they are looking for student accommodation or multi-let or whatever. They know the income that they need. They know the profits that they need. They have, specific requirements, in a way that when you actually go out there and find a deal, you find something that is specific, you give it to them, and because they know what they want and they're ready and it's what they needed, they are able to go ahead and purchase the deal from you just like that, and it's just a matter of waiting for payday. Okay, so all of those things, they are very important. And yes, we are done. That is it with regards to today's video. As you can see, it has been quite long because I want you to make the right decisions when it comes to starting this journey of yours. Okay, if you want more information with regards to our training and to see if it meets any of these requirements or it ticks any of these boxes, and of course your own personal boxes, please wait until the end. We're just going to attach another video that is going to guide you on that.